Sec, are you a soccer guy at all? Have you been following the...
I'm going to have to be now, yeah. I saw they're doing the draw right now.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see where Canada ends up. But I'll definitely, I have been following along now, but yeah, it'll be fun to watch what happens with them.
Back in 2017, you guys won your final 9 home games, set the franchise record. You have a chance to tie it tonight. And you have outscored teams 41-19 here in their last 8 home games. What is it about at home all of a sudden that you become so dominant?
Well, I think it's something that we've talked about all year, and it's something that we've wanted to be better at all year, and it's coming together now. It's been hard to play against at home, and not giving teams anything easy, and making every shift count, and making it tough on other teams to create offense in here. So, I mean, like you said, we've done a good job of it lately, but we got to keep that rolling and see what happens the rest of the way down the stretch here.
Spoke to Jay Woodcroft yesterday, and since he's come in, there's been a few things that have changed. You've obviously lowered your 5-on-5 goals against significantly. He talked about coming back to your end a lot better. Having played for a long, how did that one change make such a difference?
Yeah, well, I think that's been a big thing, is having our forwards come back hard and kind of use a wedge with the D-men to pinch guys off early, and then the D-men aren't letting guys get the zone as easy, and just bring it in and get control coming into our zone. So I know as an offensive guy, it makes it tough when D are always standing on you, and you try to chip it by to your guy driving through, but there's a forward there's a D-man stepping up on him. So that's the way that we've been since he's come in, and it's something that we keep harping on. So, and I know that we can improve on it, and every time we don't do that, we want to get back to it. So it's something that's, I think, driven our success to a certain degree, is playing together, and it just it reminds guys to play as a team, and everybody's on the same page out there.
Hey, Ryan, ever since you came into the league, the Blues have been a pretty competitive team most years, and obviously won a championship. When I say St. Louis Blues, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, you remember their championship year. Personally, I remember my first few years being in the league, and how dominant of a team they are, how tough they were to play every night. I mean, they're just a big physical team that they made it tough for you, especially when you went into St. Louis, and you knew you were getting into a tough game. So, I mean, they have a similar style of playing still, and they have a lot of young skill. So we got to be ready for a physical game, but at the same time, like I was just talking about, we can't give their offensive skill anything easy tonight.
You've had Brassard on your line a fair bit since he was acquired. What have you learned about him?
Reads the game really well. I mean, obviously you don't play this long without being a smart player, but definitely getting to play with him, you realize how smart he is out there, and he makes a lot of really good, smart little plays. So definitely we're working on the chemistry still, and hopefully tonight we get rolling again. But no, yeah, he's definitely a smart player, a lot of skill, and works hard. So I got to keep that going.
Ryan, are you a out-of-town scoreboard watcher? And like last night, LA was playing Calgary. Were you interested in that result?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's hard not to. And obviously, we just got to worry about ourselves and pick up as many points as we can. But at the same time, it's hard not to look and see what's going on around you. So, I mean, we're in control of our own destiny here. We just got to keep going, keep getting points, and it was a big game for us the other night, picking up 2 points against LA. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, you know what's happening around you, but like I said, it's up to us to get the job done.
You mentioned Brassard. You picked up some things. As a opposing player, do you never really know about a player until he's actually on your team as to what he brings to the table? You can play against guys, but unless they're maybe in your own division where you're seeing them a lot, Brassard hasn't necessarily played against the Oilers a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I played against him, like you said, for years, but and I always remember him being tough to play against just because he's a smart player. He does the little things right, and isn't making huge mistakes out there. But definitely, like you said, playing with him, you get a better sense of that, and it's all the little plays. It's all the positional, being in the right position and making the smart plays, and knowing when to sense offense and when to take care of the puck. So yeah, it's when you play against a guy like that, you get a kind of a sense for his game, but it definitely changes once you start playing with him.
And would you like to get a line where you get the same two guys every game on your wings?
I mean, for chemistry purposes, I mean, that's obviously, that definitely goes a long way. I think right now we're trying to get everybody into the groove and everybody playing. I mean, we have a deep group of forwards right now, so guys are kind of going in and out right now. So, I mean, it's a positive thing for our team. So, I mean, obviously you want to try to build as much chemistry with the guys that you're playing with as possible, though.
Thank you.
Ryan, just to follow up on that question, I just wonder if, you said you're trying to develop some chemistry with Derek Brassard. If you had a chance to play with him for a few games, and that right side's been a bit of a rotating cast. So are you kind of asking that right winger coming in to maybe kind of adhere to what you guys are doing, or are you trying to kind of mesh with that player, if you kind of know what I'm getting at?
Well, I think most of the right wingers that I've been playing with, I've played with in the past, so we understand each other's games, which helps when you're kind of going in and out of that spot. So, I mean, right now I'm trying to definitely build the chemistry with Derek and get whoever's over on that right side involved. And I mean, I think with Derek and myself, we want to play the right way. We want to be smart. Obviously, we want to help offensively and produce offensively, but I think if we take care of the puck and play the right way, it should make things easier on the right winger too. Okay, yeah, thanks.
I say St. Louis Blues, looking back at the last 10 years or so, what do you find?
Veteran, deep, hard team to play against. Team that always seems like they're kind of in the mix, so it'll be a tough test for us tonight.
Did you watch LA and Calgary last night? Do you check all the scores and look at the standings every morning?
I didn't last night, no, but I, obviously keep tabs on things. Yes, so yes.
Okay. And do you sort of get emotional with how other teams are doing, or just like, okay, that's what happened?
I mean, no, not really. I think it's just, it's out of your control, so there's nothing really to get all fired up about. Understanding where you're at in the standings is obviously important, and not taking that for granted. Obviously, it's tight, for the last, couple playoff spots. So I think every game's important when it comes down to you're getting this time of the season.
I don't know if you pay attention to this type of thing, but there's a chance to tie a club record for consecutive home wins tonight. I know you want to win home and away, but what about the home success lately? What do you think?
No, I think it's something that you want to take pride in as you're at your home rink. You want to be hard to play against. I think as of late we've done a good job of taking care of business at home, and obviously having fans back in the building and creating some energy for us has been a huge part in that. And like you said, you want to make it as a hostile environment as you can at home, and make it hard to play against when teams come into your building. So obviously that's important going down the stretch and headed into playoffs.
Noticed this morning you were taking rims and passing to defensemen, communicating a lot. When you go in and the defensemen react a certain way to you in your puck handling, and then the other guy's not as much of a puck handler, do you have to work the morning skate to make sure that everyone's on the same page here when Mike Smith's playing?
No, I think everyone's played with me at some point. Even Cooley I played with him in Calgary, so I think everyone's has an idea of what's going on out there at this point in the season. So it's just something we do every pregame skate, to be honest. So it's just something that's an important part of our game and exiting our zone cleanly. And I think everyone's pretty aware of what's going on out there at this point.
You had, I'm going to say, 3 real good starts, then you got thrown in halfway through against Calgary, and now you're playing again. You haven't played for a little while. Where's your game? Are you at a point where are you playing enough to find the game that you want to find? Can you do it at this rate of play?
Well, I think you always want to play more, but Mikko's played great, and I think you're being ready for whenever your name's called. So I think it's just I feel like my game has been good, minus the Calgary game. Obviously, was I don't think anyone was happy with their game in that one, but the 3 prior to that were good, and I feel like my game's in a good spot. So just go in there and play up to my capabilities and see what happens.
Mike, when you look at St. Louis, you mentioned a hard team to play against. Some teams, they seem to crash the net more. Dave Perron specifically, and they got a few other guys. Do you have to adjust for that? Like, do you know certain teams and certain guys where they're going to be maybe in your face more? And how does a goalie adjust to that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some teams play that kind of hard-nosed game, and St. Louis is one of them, and that's why they've had success, I think, in the playoffs in the last few years. So I think, honestly, it doesn't really change. You just battle for position and try to find pucks through screens, and that's playoff kind of hockey. That's just part of, gaining valuable points at this time of the season. It's, the good teams are the ones that get to the net and score the dirty goals. And as a goalie, you want to compete, as hard as you can to find pucks and battle through screens and bumps and whatever it may take to get in the way of shots. So I think it's this team is obviously, like I said, a good test for our D core in front of me, and then myself for guys coming to the paint. But I mean, it's nothing I haven't seen before. It's just compete as hard as you can and hopefully get in the way of pucks.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is up earlier talking about the bigger focus on coming back for the forwards, helping the D so they can stand up and at times pinch off the guys coming. The scoring chances off the rush have lowered significantly since Jay Woodcroft took over. How does the goaltender reads change? Has that I'm assuming it makes it easier because there's less high quality chances, but have you noticed a difference in the defensive play? How does that benefit the goaltenders in their reads you can make?
Yeah, I think it's just the time and space that, the opponents have with the puck. I think that's the main focus is, since Jays came in, is tight gaps, good back pressure, and, making them come through 5 guys, to get any chances they can get, not giving away scoring chances. And, our teams did a really good job of kind of buying into that. And I think, like Nuge said, it's not just on the D. It's back pressure from the forwards, applying, pressure from behind and, enabling our defensemen to stand up and have good gap and defend our lines, much better. So I think it's definitely something that's been preached here, seems like every day, which is, in turn, limited the scoring chances, against us. So I think obviously that helps, the position tremendously when you're not giving up as many, grade A scoring chances. I think that the guys have done a great job of buying into what, the coach has been preaching, and I think it's been a big reason why we've been successful here in the last little while.
Mike, you've played a long time. Are there teams that dump the puck in more than other teams? Like St. Louis always seems to play that way. They go in and they forecheck hard. But you're a goalie that handles the puck well. So do you see kind of a chess game here? They don't want to dump it in on you because you're going to get the puck back up ice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is teams that would prefer to carry it in the zone. I think most teams would. But like I said, with kind of the way we're playing now, it makes it more difficult to stick handling your way through the neutral zone without turning pucks over. So I think there's a happy medium there with teams you're playing against, whether they want to, get the puck in deep and risk giving it to the goalie and breaking out, or it's hard to put it in that area where it's untouchable. So I think it's mainly on the way we're playing in front of me. And then, as far as teams forechecking, I think they're always trying to keep it away from the goalie. It's just something that can deter a forecheck pretty quickly. So I think it's always something that's probably talked about from an opponent standpoint, but it doesn't change what I'm trying to do.
One last question. You've played on teams too that perhaps were home and cooled and ahead in their division, and then they're playing the last 15 games. Is it good to have games that are so meaningful going into the playoffs so you get used to playing these sort of games before you get to the playoffs?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, would it be nice to be 20 points up right now and be comfortable? Yes. But I think these are important games for us going down the stretch. Right to the last game, it'll be like playoff hockey. And what better way to prepare for playoffs than to play in, 15 games that mean so much going into the playoffs. That way you're not trying to turn a switch on and find a game when you've been kind of maybe playing not to get hurt or resting guys or whatever it may be. So I think there's definitely two ways to look at it. But I've always been a big proponent of, it's not a switch you just flick on and off when you want to play well. It's if you carry momentum going into the playoffs, I think it just benefits you.
Thank you.
Ask you about your and Mikko's confidence in the tandem that the two of you have. You guys seem to get along great and have each other's backs, and also kind of, maybe, I don't know if challenge is the right word, but he's playing well, you're playing well, and it seems to be working for the two of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Meek's a great guy. I don't think he's got a bad bone in his body, to be honest. So I think he's just got a tremendous demeanor about him, and he's obviously easy to get along with. And we're both trying to help this team, win and get to the, a final goal. And healthy competition is important. It's something that it's probably more important than ever with the way that the schedule is and as many games we're playing, that you definitely need two guys that can get in there the net and give your team a chance to win hockey games. Mikko's played tremendously all season long, but it's my turn tonight, and I just want to go in there and play as well as he's been playing the last few games, and after that, that's all you can control, really. So I think that's all I'm really worried about right now. Mikko and I we're all playing for the same reason. We all want to win, and we're no different. And the relationship's healthy, and that's important. And I got his back and he's got mine, and we're all in it together. Thanks.
came to town, did you say, hey, boys, we got to be better at home? Or is this a byproduct of sticking with the program?
Yeah, I think it's just, it's about taking each day as it comes and rising to the challenge that each new team has presented. And it's a credit to our players because they've put in a lot of hard work here over the last 6 weeks.
The Blues have an impressive record against Pacific Division opponents. I think it's 13-3-1. What do you have to do to slow these guys down tonight?
Well, they're not that far removed from having won the Stanley Cup. A lot of their key pieces were involved in that run. And I think, they forecheck well, they transition pucks well, they break out well. They do a lot of things really well. So we're going to need all 20 people on our team to make sure that they're focused and prepared to execute immediately.
Change the subject a little bit. You played for the Missouri River Otters outside of St. Louis.
Yep.
What do you remember about that team? I see Colin Chalk was on that.
Yep, I played with Colin on that team. We had a couple NHLers on that, guys that had played the NHL. Darren Kimball was there, Lonnie Loach. It was a good experience for me, and lots of really nice people in that area. It's a nice place to live and an underrated hockey community.
A Plager was on that team. Was he related to Bob or Barkley?
Yeah, it was Kevin Plager, and yes, he was. He was. I think he was Barkley's son, actually, and he was just. He lived up to the family name. He was all sandpaper, and he played the game hard. He was a great human being. He was a very good teammate.
So Colin Chalk was a high-scoring offensive player. Were you in the checking role in that?
Yeah. I was playing behind Lonnie Loach and Colin there as a centerman, and it's good, some good guys to learn from.
Good, thank you.
They were talking about the home record, Jay, and instilling kind of a belief in your team. When you look at the rotation of your forwards, and you said yesterday how you want to make the players the number one priority. So when you talk about the human side of it, take away the player and look at the human side of it, how often do you have to have conversations with those guys that are rotating in and out to ensure that they still feel part of the group?
Yeah, I think that's something that you do on a daily basis. It doesn't always have to come from myself. Our communication comes from our coaching staff. We want to make sure that everybody's aware of where the team's at, aware of what our forward depth is, and what our plan is going forward, which is to try and call on that depth and use our depth to our advantage. If somebody has made some plays or had a couple tough games in a row and we take them out of the lineup, that's one thing. But if it's about trying to keep as many people involved as possible, that's where you have to make sure that you're quite clear and direct in your communication so that there's nothing lost in translation.
And how's that communication with your goaltenders? Because there's only two of them. It's a very select group. Yeah. One's a veteran. Well, both are veterans, but Mike's been around here a long time, and Mikko's kind of taken more of the starts lately. How do you massage that relationship, to ensure that guys are pointing in the right direction?
Again, I think there's conversations that you have as a head coach and then the position coach. So in that case, Dustin Schwartz is in daily communication and talking to both goaltenders, laying out what expectations are, what potential schedules might be, and he does a very good job of that. And but our goaltenders are like everyone else on their team. I talk to them on a daily basis as well.
And lastly, the Blues, they don't necessarily have like an elite top end guy, but they've got the most players with 30 plus points. They're a very deep team. They can come at you in different lines. So how do you approach a team like that that's maybe different than where it's like, hey, this team has like a McDavid or a Draisaitl. It's kind of obvious who their guys are when it's spread across all four lines and even their defense?
Yeah, well, I think you use the word team there, and they're a very good team. They're deep, and in order to beat a team like that, it requires a team effort. It's not about keying on one specific specific person. It's about having an understanding that we need all 20 people, and we need everyone pulling on the same rope here and being prepared to execute. I think tonight's game is going to come down to second and third efforts. Nothing's going to be easy here. It is something that we're going to have to dig in. We're going to have to understand the game they want to play, and we have to assert the game that we want to play. And in order to do that, we need everybody.
Jay, you've used Derek Brassard and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins together as a duo, since they've been around, and you've been rotating kind of the right side. I'm just wondering what the kind of ideal right winger is for that pair, and kind of how you're kind of working in those.
Well, we're still trying to work that out. So I don't know if I have a hard and fast answer for you. But the good part about having the depth that we mentioned is that you have different people that bring different ingredients. And, Derek has been here for a few games. Nuge is just coming back into the lineup in that same time frame. And we're trying to find a piece that complements them the best. And, we're expecting Zach Cassian to come into that role here today and bring what he brings to the table.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was saying that, in a perfect world, he'd like to have two line mates. He understands you're trying to work guys in.
Yeah.
Is that your goal there as well, or do you see that position as being one where you can rotate guys?
Well, I think everybody wants the stability of just being able to come in and what the line is all the time. I think the one thing about our lineup is that we have a lot of good pieces, and we're fluid. And we're fluid right now. And when we see results, we want to continue to see those results. And if we're not getting results, we want to make sure that we have the flexibility that we can make some adjustments if need be. That's all part of seeing the game clearly on behalf of the coaching staff and trying to find the right combinations. Good, thanks guys.